player fighting game. If this is the setting for your video game, adding a story to it is tough. A comic book universe. Never drink the green goo because you're going to transform into one, well, awesomely drawn creature, and the plot's going to forget about you as soon as you bust through a wall. AKAPAD, let me know if you've been in this scenario. You tried playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo, not your cup of tea. Then you go into Mortal Kombat 3, the one with all the characters, the Ultimate Edition, not your cup of tea. What's your next best fighter? Well, it's today's comic book, Killer Instinct by Rare.
Everything you love about the arcade game. Cut down to size. Only on the Super NES. With a free game music CD. So who needs a new system?
Hey Padders, welcome back. So I'm going to break down the scenario for you. Let me know if you've been there. You tried playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition. Not your cup of tea. Then you tried playing Mortal Kombat 3, the Ultimate Edition. The one with all of the characters. Not your cup of tea. You're running out of options. What is the next best thing? What can you get to? You're going to go fight your friend. You want to beat him. You won't beat your friend so much that he rage quits on you. What's your next best game? Well, that's today's comic. ACCLAIM Comics. The video game company. They buy a comic book company called Valiant Comics, and then we have the Killer Instinct comic book series. I'm not familiar with the characters, with the backgrounds. When we hit that drawing table, I'm going to get into detail of where I was or what I was going through when I read these books, because it's fun to explore new characters, new ideas, and new concepts for the very first time. And here's the wild thing. If we have a fighter, like a player versus player tournament style game, introducing that into a storyline it's tough. It's one of the hardest things I've ever seen done. I'm never satisfied. I haven't seen it done successfully at all. Now, I think some of the later Tekken stuff, like the anime, I think they get close. Mortal Kombat does more of the mythology now, with the fighters being introduced into epic scaped or giant world building storylines. Go to HBO Max and check out all the new Mortal Kombat animated movies. They are completely amazing. Even the Johnny Cage one, I loved it. So the Mortal Kombat characters have evolved to be staged in something that's happening bigger around them. More or less Outworld or Outer, right? It's called Outworld, having a civil war, fighting itself, or invading Earth. Street Fighter, I haven't seen any interpretation where the Street Fighter tournament works well within the narrative. And that leads us to this, because I had no idea about this comic. I buy comic book adaptations. Some of my friends, when they're dollar bin hunting, buy these for me. And, they're good friends. They drop them off. But, I collected these. They ended up in my comic box. I got 2 of them. I don't know why I'm holding up 3 comics. I only have 2. We're going to detail one of them. I did read them both. But I just want to almost document me exploring the world of Killer Instinct for the very first time. I think it's amazing. I think it's one amazing universe. I think the solutions here introduced in these books, which is something that we just went over, is hard to do. I think it's there. And hey, and guys, you get to go to the drawing table with me right over there. So join me, Killer Instinct comic book goodness. Oh, and yeah, it's also kind of like late 90s stuff. Or early 2000s. So whatever it is, let's go. And welcome back to the drawing table, my AKA Padders. Full confession, I haven't read a lot of video game comics. Malibu has a Street Fighter comic. I remember reading that back in the day. The Malibu Mortal Kombat is they did a Goro, a Baraka, and here, if you're into Jax, if you're into Sonya Blade, the U.S. Special Forces, 2-issue series. I got issue 1 here somewhere. I can't find it, but yeah, they do a whole 2-issue series on the rest of the team, very similar to Cammy and Guile from Street Fighter. Street Fighter has a big vein with Udon Studios, some manga, some other stuff from the US publishers. I kind of want to go into a full deep dive on that. I want to get the rest of these and present all of the Mortal Kombat Malibu to you. So if these are things you guys want to see, you have to let me know in the comments. Just because I need. Sometimes I'm just like all over the place. I need a little bit of direction. You guys, the AKAPAD army, can help me with it. So we have Jago here. We have Kilgore. Kilgore is not in this issue at all. This is the one we decided to read because the only other issue we have of Killer Instinct for Pan Asian Month, because Jago's Tibetan and he has a sister. His sister in this issue is so well drawn. Here we go. Stephen Butler. I can't reference anything else from him, but look at Stephen Butler. But he's got this awesome action shot here. Yeah. Orchid and Jago. This issue is going to explain to us how Orchid finds out who Jago is. And Jago turns out to be her brother. Now, there's a lot of debate online because sometimes Orchid looks Asian and sometimes she doesn't. Jago, we know, is Tibetan. It's a big conversation online, like a 20-year argument on if they're really sister or if they're not. Now, I went through some Reddit threads and they don't reference the comics, so maybe I'll hit up some of those Reddit threads and correct people. But yeah, supposedly this is a long-standing argument, is if they're brother or sister or not, because I don't think it's referenced in the game. But look at this. This is why. Guys, say what you want about this era, but Acclaim, Valiant Heroes, Acclaim Comics, Acclaim, the video game company, buys Valiant, the best publisher of the day. And look at who they bring in. Look at these names. Kurt Busiek, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Fabian Nikisi, Mark Waid, Christopher Priest, Ashley Wood, Mike McCone. I mean, it goes on and on, right? Derek Robertson, Mark Bright, right? I think he just passed. R.I.P. Mark Bright. But I wanted to read this because I love the idea. I love the experiment of not knowing about things, and if it's in the form of a comic, reading it. And that's what we're here. I didn't know what to expect because I'm always curious of how they wrap a storyline against like a player versus player fighting game. If this is the setting for your video game, adding a story to it is tough. This is why I give a lot of credit to Mortal Kombat, because I love the Mortal Kombat animated movies. It's like the only animation I look forward to that I actually actively watch. I love the storylines for the video games. I love the Malibu comics. I love the mythology and the lore. So we have Jago. He's fighting Raptor guy. Raptor guy is going to slash him. But we have these announcers. The announcers are in the panels, and it's a play-by-play. But he gets nuked. Orchid's upset. He has this cut from the previous night. Now his cut's infected. And Orchid, she calls the doctors, and she is pissed, and she storms off. Don't move, I'll be right back. And just so you guys know, it's established that we're in some type of tournament arena. But yeah, Orchid talks to Saber here, and she's like, hey, you infected him. And he's like, yeah. He's like, look, I'm sorry. They told me they had a cure, but it's kind of complicated. And she's like, you know what? It's not. Look, then let's go have a talk with the new chairman. So they go to the new chairman,
And the new chairman's this guy right here. But the old chairman shows up. This guy right here. The bald guy. Perfect 90s villain. He shows up. He nukes the chairman. And Kara essentially is the one behind it. And they want to have their cuddle time. That's what they call it in here. Orca shows up. He goes, just call them cuddles. They'll know what he means. Alas, her digital daughter. Look, if there's a cure here, fat man, I will find it. Good job back there. Great teacher. Now, where were we? And yeah, so the new chairman and his assassin assistant start making out. And then we're back at Orca's apartment because Jago's in like the ICU, but she's with Saber. And yeah, they kind of look at some of these pictures that Orca has. You certainly look like your brother. That's the beauty of having a family. Something I will never know. Brother, right? Foreshadowing. We're back at the arena. Yeah, we got some serviceable action, and the people are into it. Fans. We have. So I love that Mortal Kombat Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition in this game. They all had these Native American characters. I forget. I know this dude's name is Cinder. I already forget this guy's name. Oh, Thunder. Thunder and Cinder. Awesome. Yeah, and then Saber and Orchid, they go to, they're like, hey, we kind of have a lead on where the cure is. She's like, look, these things are never as hard as they look. So she does something. She opens up the gate. And then here we go. Kara, the crazy assassin cuddle girl, has 2 pet lizards. One easily identifiable as orange. The other one is green. And here we go. The fight ensues. The negative space here works, guys. The debris, the rubble, the dust. Well mapped out illustration here. Orchid here is just doing this awesome flipping. She does one of her moves. I just remember her moves from the game. She would do like a cartwheel. She had these like daredevil batons. And I'm vague on if she transforms, but she has to have like an animality like transformation. Animalities were also big. Thank you, Mortal Kombat. But Saber here, he is... Look at that illustration. Look at this. This is why we read comics. Look, guys. Stapled comics and werewolves. They mix together so effing well. But yeah, so we get this, halfway decent fight. And they come across the cure, and Saber, he wants the cure. So I don't know the character, if he transforms into something else, and now because of the story it's a werewolf and not like another creature, or if he's like a shit. I don't know. We don't have any backstory on the one that is trying to find a cure. Okay, but he drinks the green goo. Guys, let me tell you something. Never do this. Never drink the green goo. Never do it. If you're ever in a comic book universe, never drink the green goo, because you're going to transform into one awesomely drawn creature, and the plot's going to forget about you as soon as you bust through a wall. Must get out. This is where the new growth formula was kept. Whoops, I guess I led you guys into the wrong room. Boy, is there red on my face. And Orchid flips out. Guys, toothbrush of truth here. We need this panel needs, like, it's almost just like, we'll draw right on it, right? Like, it's almost like the shapes of the panels need to be like a little bit more, like maybe like the eye here with the hair, but, and then this would be like a splash panel. The layout for this page just doesn't scream contact and fight. And if you're laying out your pages, they sometimes have to emulate the mood of the book, because it's another layer to bring in the audience. Yeah, so we're back at the arena because we have to have some arena action, and Cinder and the skeleton guy They get nuked by Kara. Hey, I'm bleeding here. Because she's like stumbling out. And then we're back in the ICU. So we all know what happened with Saber and the mutation. It's not really addressed. The doctors are like, look, we can't cure him, but I want to take off his mask. Because, like, again, we're in this, like, Toxic Avenger, Hobo with a Shotgun, Robocop type, totalitarian, corporate-like universe, Mojo, arcade. So the doctors are just, like, kind of messed up and evil, as they are in a lot of those movies and references I just named. And this doctor's like, I want to know what's under Jago's mask. So he takes off the mask, and then Orchid here, I know you. That face, the birthmark. And then she kind of has this, like, flashback of looking at... We all know if this is a flashback, but this should, right here, should be, like, we should have these squiggle panels here, right? And it should kind of be like that. And then segue into her seeing Jago's face somehow. I guess, like, this area she identifies as her brother. And the doctors are like, look, like previously, right? Because we're one page away. They're like, look, we can cure your brother, or we can cure him if we had a DNA sequence. And she's like, yes, you can use my DNA, because now she knows, right? She realizes it's her brother. You can use my DNA with what you have of the cure to sequence a new cure. And then she's like, get out of here. This is a family matter. And we are done. People, so a lot of times when we do stuff on this channel, I like to approach books as if I know nothing. Killer Instinct, I know very little of the characters. Very little. And if I just pick this up to read it, I would be entertained. So it's a success. Now, we also have to rate this or gauge it on the level of how much of a success is it to, like, the continuity of Killer Instinct, the games, what else we know about the characters, how well this falls into this series, and right, and so on and so forth. But we always judge comics first by just them just being a comic. Just, this is it. We're going to discuss it, and we're going to move on. This is fun. This is solid. A sign of the time. I hate the cover for issue 3 though. I can't even the highlights. I don't know. The blue just kills it. Too much red. Not enough separation. This is okay, but again, a sign of the time. These, you gotta try things. I want to get more of these. I want to get deeper into Killer Instinct. These are things you guys want to see. You have to let me know, because again, it puts me in a direction, because you know, time and money. But guys, thank you so much. I love having you here at the drawing table. Rock and roll.
Holy! Same graphics, same moves. It looks like the arcade, man.
Arcade, man.
16 bits.
16 bits.
All I can say is Killer Instinct only on Super NES, complete with Killer Cuts game music CD. It's totally uncensored.
So who needs a new system?